Hi and welcome to All Things Marvelous. I'm John Paul and today we're going to be making this really quick fractured glass sculpture in Blender. It's quite a simple setup, so hopefully you'll be able to get a really good looking render in under a few minutes. Please hit the like button if you find something useful, and with that, let's get into the video. Okay, first we need to delete the main cube and add a plane. Then rotate it 90 degrees on the Y. Then go into edit mode and press S, Y to scale it down to a rectangle. Then subdivide this about 4 times. Come back out to object mode and then go over to the object quick effects and add a cell fracture. Set the noise to 1 and the mass to 0 and uniform. Then click OK. Sometimes you'll get a piece that looks like this. All you need to do is undo the cell fracture, go back into the settings and change one of the options in the menu, and then run it again. From here, in the File menu, select all the pieces and press Ctrl J. Then go into Edit mode and change the handle selection to Individual Origins. Press S and scale down the pieces to create gaps in between them. Come back out to Object mode and in the Modifier section add a Solidify modifier and give this a little bit of depth. Once you're happy with the size, apply the modifier. Now select the object and head over to Edit mode. Change the selection to Faces and go into the side view. From here, select all the front faces, then flip the side view and select all the back faces. Press Ctrl B to add a bevel. Make sure you use the middle mouse wheel to add quite a few sections. Don't go so much you break the mesh though. From here, drop on a bevel and a subdivision surface and set it to Simple and 2. Now add a Simple Deform. Leave it on twist and set it to the Z axis. You might find that the origin for the shape needs to be put back in the center. To do this, select the object and right click to select Set Origin to Geometry or to the 3D cursor, depending on what looks best. Then increase the angle to 180 degrees. When you do this, you might see this breaking of the mesh. To fix this, right click on the object and select either Shade Smooth or Auto Shade Smooth. Again, whichever you feel fixes things the best. You can also increase the subdivision surface. I then zeroed out the camera's transformation controls and lined up the shot I'd like to see. Then changed the ratio to square and zoomed in. Then I headed over to the shader editor. There's lots of different ways you can make glass. In my previous video, I showed a way which had quite a defined red, green, blue within the refraction. With this technique, you get a lot more control over the transition between the red grain and the blue as it mixes with one another. So, we need to add a texture coordinate and a white noise texture, a color ramp and an RGB curves. Setup in the video is shown. Next, to set up 3 colors within the color ramp, blue, green and red. Set equal distance apart with black on either side. From here, we add a refraction BSDF and a glossy BSDF and a mix shader. Plug in the refraction and glossy BSDF into the mix shader, and then the color of the color ramp into the refraction color, and then add a Fresnel, and add the factor of the Fresnel into the factor of the mix shader, and from here we need to control the level of the IOR of both the refraction and the Fresnel. Now we can do this by using a map range and a maths node and 2 values. One value set to 1.4 and another value set to 0.64. Add them both into the maths node set to add, and then from this into the bottom of the max of the map range. Then use the 1.4 into the minimum of the map range, and then you can put the color of the RGB curves into the top of the map range value, and then this should go into the IOR of the refraction. Then take the top value of the IOR, the 1.4, and put that into the Fresnel. Then in the RGB curves, set the curves as shown in the video with a curved fall off. This can be rough. Okay, next head over to the Worlds tab and click Environment Texture in the Color selector. Here I added a nice bright HDRI that you can download free from PolyHaven. Then turn the strength up to 50 and in the project settings, head down to Film and click Transparent Background. Next we need to add a bit of detail to the surface. To do this, add an image texture and then click Ctrl T to add the mapping and texture coordinates. You need Node Wrangler enabled to make this shortcut happen. If not, you can just add them individually. Then add a color ramp and connect the color into the factor and the color into the roughness of the refraction BSDF. Swap the colors around and shrink the black to the left hand side of the slider. Then go back into the world settings and in the ray visibility turn off glossy. Then back in the main settings, put the transparent to 25 and turn on transparent glass. You can download a free sample from Poliigon called Scratches Lite. Once you've got this, head back over to the image texture and import the high-res version. Then play around with the color ramp so that you can make it visible within the viewport render. Okay, from here I added 4 different spotlights at about 1500 watts. One from above, one from below and 2 from either side with a slight tilt to them. Next, head over to the composition tab and add a viewer node. Split the image connection and plug in the viewer so that you can see what you're working on. Next, add a glare node and a lens distortion node and plug them into the sequence. Change the glare to fog glare and add high and a size of 6, and then change the lens dispersion to 0.04. And if you press V to zoom out, you'll see that creates a nice blur towards the edges. If yours is looking a little yellow like mine, that's to do with the shader and the RGB color ramp. You need to space them out so they're exactly 0.25, 0.5 and 0.75. This should make it pure white. Now all that's left to do is select the main object and add a keyframe to frame 1 at 0 degrees and then another keyframe at 360 degrees on the Z rotation at frame 250. As you can see in the graph editor, my handles are currently set to Bezier curves and they need to be set to linear. You can do this by selecting both of the keyframes and select the interpolation mode to linear, and then grab the very last keyframe and move it 1 frame on. This will solve any slight jitter in the looping of the animation. Once that's all done, just sit back and let it render. Thanks for sticking around till the end. I hope you found something useful and I'll catch you on the next video.